the shed had sapped what little energy she was still able to muster. She would have to rest a few minutes before she could do what she had come to do. Closing her eyes, Luca took a deep breath. Despite all these weeks left idle in the shed, the mobile library had retained all its magic. The magic came from the books that lined the walls. Even with her eyes closed, she could see each one of them in its proper place on the metal shelves. She loved them all, but some were special. The rear wall was given over to the children's collection, from books with colourful numbers and letters to learn, to Dr. Seuss and Little Grey Rabbit. Luca could once have recited the words of all her favourites. The books for the older kids resided in the higher shelves. Pride of place in the middle went to the Brumbies, white horses roughly sketched against a mountain backdrop. She must have read them all a dozen times over the years, and had always planned to read them again. She probably didn't have enough time now. On the left wall of the library, the top 3 shelves held a well-worn cluster of romance novels. She always smiled when she saw a male reader surreptitiously slide one of those from the shelves when he thought no one was watching. She always kept the book between 2 meaty crime novels as she checked it out. She'd often wondered what the slightly embarrassed romance fans would have said if they knew how many other hatted and booted stockmen and farmers had a soft spot for a happy ever after. The single poetry shelf had attracted fewer visitors, but her bush poets had been eager, and the turnover had always been high. She could still hear the voices and see the eager faces. "Have you got any more books by this author? Thank you for suggesting this. It was great." I cried as I read the last chapter. Fascinating. Interesting. Wonderful. Yes, full of wonder. Those were the words she used when she talked about her little mobile library. A magical place of dreams and wonder for young and old alike. Even after both she and the library were no longer official, she had kept those dreams alive for herself and for readers in the small towns that had been forgotten or left behind. So many books, so many readers, so many memories. But not one of them as important as what she was about to do. Luca picked up the tote bag she'd brought from the house. She carefully laid the writing paper, pen, and envelopes on the desk. Then she pulled a photograph in a silver frame from the bag and placed it where she could see it. She looked at it for a long time. Her own face was much changed from that of the young woman in the photograph. She barely recognized herself now. The child would be a young woman today, but Luca would still know her. She was the reason Luca had made the effort to come all the way to the library today. She could have done this in the house and saved herself both the physical and emotional journey, but so much of her life had been lived within these walls that she couldn't imagine being anywhere else. The first letter was easy to write, despite the tremor in her hand. The recipient had received detailed instructions months ago. He knew what she wanted, and he would do it. But the second one... Her hand hovered over the white sheet. She had written this letter in her mind so many times over the past couple of years, and while the words had been different each time, every one of them had said the same thing. Words that were so important they might begin a journey of discovery, or lay waste to her best hope. She would never know which. Luca took a deep breath and looked once more at the photograph. She didn't need the doctors to tell her she had very little time left. She could only hope that when she was gone, her words would be read by that little girl. She picked up a pen. My darling daughter. Chapter 1. Lou unchained her bike from the stand and wheeled it to the cycle path. A few seconds later she was moving swiftly away from the university, her tiny office and the stack of marked essays ready to go back to their writers. The cycleway curved down towards the Lane Cove River, and her heart lifted as she was surrounded by trees. She loved these few minutes, without brick walls or fences. She loved the feeling of openness, the towering gums and the air that was a little less polluted by car exhaust and big city smog. She was sweating in the midsummer heat,